The recording light wasn't supposed to be on. Vincent Herbert sat alone in the dim studio, the same place where Tamar once recorded her first hits. Laughter, love, arguments, success, everything lived inside those walls. But tonight, the room felt cold, heavy, like it had been waiting years for someone to finally speak the truth. He stared at the microphone, rubbed his hands once, and pressed record. His voice was calm, too calm for what he was about to say. For years, he began, eyes unfocused, I protected the Braxton family. I kept my mouth shut, covered the mess, paid the bills no one ever saw. But they don't get to call me the villain anymore. He took a shaky breath, then continued, voice cracking like he'd been carrying this weight in silence far too long. They took everything. Tamar, she looted my accounts. Money I saved. Money for our family. And when it was gone, suddenly I became the bad guy. The camera flickered, almost like even the lights were shocked. He leaned closer to the mic, whispering as if afraid someone would burst through the door. You want secrets? I have them. All of them. And tonight, I'm done protecting the Braxtons. The internet didn't need context. This was the spark, and the firestorm was coming. Before the money, the fame, the talk shows, and the scandals, there was love. Real love. Vincent and Tamar weren't always headlines and court filings. They were once two people who believed music could heal anything, even each other. Their earliest days weren't perfect, but they were full of ambition, late-night studio sessions, phone calls that ran until the sun rose, promises whispered like prayers. Vincent believed he found his purpose in Tamar. Tamar believed she found someone who finally saw her beyond the Braxton name. The Braxton family wasn't just famous. They were legacy. A powerhouse of sisters, voices, egos, and unspoken truths. Anyone stepping inside that circle needed armor. Vincent didn't know that at first. He entered with an open heart and open wallet, thinking family loyalty meant protection. He learned quickly it meant politics. Sides. Secrets. Smiles that didn't reach the eyes. Every sister had a story. Every sister had a wound. And every disagreement, even small ones, could turn into a war nobody admitted they were fighting. Evelyn, the matriarch, demanded respect and control in equal measure. Tony, the icon, was always balancing superstardom and family. Tawanda and Trina held their own pains quietly, often overshadowed. And Tamar, she was the fire. Loud, talented, emotional, brilliant, impulsive. The star who needed everything to burn bright. Vincent adored that fire. Fed it. Funded it. Built careers and projects around it. When the world doubted her, he doubled the investment. He believed if he gave everything, the world would give her back what she deserved. But giving everything has a cost. As Tamar's fame rose, Vincent fell into a role most men never survive, being the backbone without ever being seen as the hero. He wasn't the star. He was the machine behind the star. He pushed tours, paid dancers, covered studio time, settled family disagreements with checks and contracts. And slowly, quietly, he began paying for things that weren't even his responsibility. According to Vincent, credit cards linked to production accounts carried Braxton charges, dinners, travel, private glam bookings, things labeled as family expenses. He brushed it off at first. What's a few $1,000s when success is coming? But then a few thousand became tens of thousands. Then six figures. Then the label deal went south. The album needed more funding. A show needed emergency production financing. Suddenly Vincent wasn't just a husband, he was a bank. He tried to speak on it privately, but Tamar was always under pressure: career, family expectations, internet criticism. Every conversation about money turned into an argument about support, loyalty, and whether he still believed in her. Vincent would back down. Every time. Not because he was weak, but because he loved her. And because loving Tamar meant choosing peace. Even when he was drowning. There were good days too. Holidays where the house was full of music, where Tamar cooked laughing loud enough for the whole neighborhood to hear. Studio nights where they danced like they were still dating. Vincent never forgot those moments, and that made everything worse. Because love makes betrayal sharper. As rumors of tension grew online, fans speculated. Blogs exaggerated. Sisters stayed quiet publicly, but reportedly whispered opinions privately. Vincent watched the internet build a narrative where he became controlling, manipulative, the villain. He swallowed it, hoping time would fix things. But then one morning he checked his business account and froze. Transactions long past what he approved. Funds moved. Withdrawals he didn't make. And one name connected to the transfers was painfully familiar. Tamar. He didn't confront her immediately. He paced for hours, replaying every memory of trust. When he finally asked where the money went, her explanation wasn't calm. Voices raised. Doors slammed. Words thrown like knives. She said she needed to secure projects the label wasn't supporting. She said family needed help. She said he was supposed to believe in her, but Vincent didn't see belief. He saw fear. Desperation. A woman burning faster than he could fuel. He went silent again. Chose love over confrontation. But inside, something cracked. When the divorce came later, the public saw arguments. Betrayal rumors. But they didn't see the years of sacrifices invisible to fans. They didn't see Vincent crying alone in the studio he built for her music. They didn't see him selling assets quietly to cover the debts nobody but he knew existed. And they definitely didn't see what he found later. Records of withdrawals, digital signatures, financial logs that suggested things might have gone further than he ever shared publicly. Until now. That's why his voice shook on that recording. He wasn't angry, he was wounded. A man who poured himself into a family who, in his words, took until there was nothing left to take. Now that Vincent broke his silence, the real story is no longer speculation. It's war. The audio Vincent recorded was never meant for the internet, but one clip leaked, just 22 seconds, enough to divide fans, ignite blogs, and send the Braxton fanbase into chaos. His voice in that snippet was raw, trembling, but unmistakably determined as he said, "I didn't lose the money, it was taken from me." Within minutes, hashtags trended. Comments flooded with disbelief. Some defended Tamar fiercely. Others whispered that Vincent had been quiet too long for there not to be truth behind his tone. But the full recording? Nobody had heard that until tonight. Vincent leaned forward in his chair, eyes tired as if replaying every mistake in his mind. He took a slow breath and continued speaking into the mic, almost confessing to himself as much as to the world. "People think I left because of arguments or the reality show tension," he said, voice heavy. But the breaking point wasn't the fights, the rumors, or even the disrespect. It was the day I discovered the offshore transfer. He paused, long enough for that sentence to sting. An offshore transfer? The kind that doesn't usually happen by accident. Vincent explained how he once logged into an account tied to music royalties only to find nearly $1.2 million missing. Funds that weren't for shopping or shows. They were tied to future projects. His production company, their son's financial security. Money meant to build, to sustain, to protect. Yet it had vanished. He retraced every step, accountants, lawyers, financial managers, until one name kept appearing in digital authorizations. A name he trusted more than his own. Tamar Braxton. At first, he thought it was identity theft. Fraud. Someone using her credentials. He confronted the accountant and was stunned by the answer. The transfers were initiated using Tamar's email, with private access only she possessed. Vincent remembered sitting there unable to speak, feeling like his chest collapsed inward. This wasn't petty couple drama. This was betrayal at a level marriage vows were never built to hold. Still, he didn't explode. He gave Tamar a chance to explain. He walked into the house calm, hoping there was a misunderstanding. "We need to talk about the missing funds," he said. Tamar didn't react with guilt. She reacted with fire. She refused to admit wrongdoing, saying she moved money to protect her own future because she feared Vincent would take everything if their marriage failed. She thought she was securing herself, but to Vincent, it felt like she had already decided they were finished long before he realized it. Arguments escalated fast, not because of the money alone, but because he finally admitted something he'd hidden for years. "I feel like I've been building everyone but myself." Those words cut deeper than shouting ever could. Tamar's voice shook with anger as she said he was controlling, trying to own her career, that she wasn't some artist living under a man's shadow. She said she deserved independence. She deserved power. And in that moment, they weren't husband and wife. They were two empires colliding. The next weeks were cold. Silence lived where laughter used to be. Vincent slept in the studio. Tamar left for days, without explanation. Family gathered, not with comfort, but with whispers. Who was wrong? Who was using who? And whose version of the truth would survive when the cameras started rolling? During a later studio session, the one before the recording we heard, Vincent found something shocking. A folder on a shared drive, misfiled under vocal stems. Inside were scanned contract pages, expense reports, and personal notes. Not in Vincent's writing, in Tamar's hand. Some pages contained lists titled, Assets to Move, Accounts under VH, Properties with Shared Signature. One note circled twice in red. Discuss with Trina, before final step. It was then Vincent realized this wasn't emotional impulse. This looked planned. He wasn't just losing money. He was losing control over everything he built. He kept reading. At the bottom of the file, the page that changed everything was a draft agreement between Tamar and a third-party investor. It proposed transferring ownership of certain intellectual rights under Tamar's name alone. Projects they both created. Albums he helped finance. Shows he negotiated. Vision they built together as partners. And he had no idea she was preparing to separate those assets legally. He felt betrayed by love, by family, by the person he once trusted with his entire career. And then came the twist, the moment he finally snapped, the moment that forced him to pick up that microphone and record what the world now calls the Vincent tape. A digital receipt attached to the file showed that part of the money, not all, but enough, was allegedly transferred to an account owned by someone unexpected. A Braxton family relative. Not Tamar. Not Evelyn. Not one of the sisters. Someone the public never thought was involved. Someone who had stayed quiet throughout every season. Someone who now looks like they might have played both sides. Vincent stared into the camera on his laptop and spoke words that would change everything. Tamar didn't take it alone. Someone else helped her move it. Someone with our trust, our passwords, and access to the accounts. And when I reveal who it is, the internet will never look at the Braxton family the same again. He ended the recording with one final sentence, a sentence still echoing across social media. You want truth? I have names. The internet didn't just react, it detonated. Blogs uploaded clips every hour. Fan pages dissected voice tone, timelines, album credits, divorce filings. Podcasts debated who Vincent meant when he said, someone else moved the money. Comment sections turned into digital battlegrounds. Team Tamar. Team Vince. Team Nobody. Everyone had a theory, but one suspicion grew louder than all others. Which Braxton did he mean? Tony? Too polished, too distant. Tawanda? Always rumored to be in the middle of family business. Trina? Overlooked often, silent but watching. Or Evelyn? The matriarch with more power than she ever shows. People watched old episodes searching for clues like detectives on a cold case. Clips where a sister avoided eye contact. Jokes about money. Arguments too emotional to be just TV. And every day a new rumor surfaced, each one darker than the last. While the internet went manic, inside Vincent's world things grew darker. His phone rang nonstop, lawyers, producers, journalists begging for statements. He ignored most. He wasn't looking for press, he was looking for closure. He already revealed the betrayal happened, but he hadn't said the name. Not yet. And he didn't intend to, until someone forced his hand. 2 nights after the tape leaked, Vincent received an anonymous email. No words in the subject. Just a single video attachment. He opened it carefully, expecting spam, but what played made him sit back slowly, hands covering his mouth. It was a recording, grainy, secret, filmed years ago. Tamar and Tawanda sitting in a private room surrounded by paperwork. The camera angle suggested it wasn't meant to be seen. In the video, Tamar said quietly, "He trusts us. He won't look twice. We just need everything under control before release day. Tawanda responded, voice low but clear. Once the transfer clears, it's done. Vince will think it's a business move. Vincent paused the video, heart pounding. There it was, the second betrayal. Not one person. Two. Shock didn't hit him the way people assume. It didn't come with shouting or smashed furniture. It came with silence. Deep, suffocating, dangerous silence. The kind that changes a man forever. If the public ever saw this video, Tamar wouldn't be the only one questioned. Tawanda's role, unknown to fans, was suddenly at the center of everything. But Vincent didn't release it immediately. He wanted to speak with Tamar one last time, not as enemies, but as the two people who once built everything together. He requested a private meeting through her team. Days passed before she responded. When she finally agreed, they met at a studio, the same one where he recorded the tape. Fate has a wicked sense of humor. She walked in confident, dressed in black, sunglasses on, chin raised like a woman refusing to break. Vince turned from the console, eyes tired but calm. We could have handled this between us, Tamar said first. No greeting, no small talk. I tried, he answered. For years. She exhaled sharply, like she hated the truth in his voice. Are you really going to drag my family like this? Vince didn't raise his voice, didn't point fingers. I'm not dragging anyone. I'm telling what happened. Tamar hesitated. Something flickered in her eyes. Recognition? Regret? We'll never know. But she said something that shifted the room. You think I don't regret how things ended? You think I didn't love you? Her voice softened, rare, vulnerable. For a moment, they weren't public figures, just two broken hearts who never learned to break gently. But Vincent couldn't ignore the wound. He opened his laptop and pressed play. Tamar watched herself and Tawanda on the screen, younger, confident, unaware they were being recorded. Her face drained of color. Her hand trembled slightly. This is why you called me, she whispered.
No, he said.
This is why I kept quiet. Silence. Heavy. Cold. Tamar finally spoke, voice cracking. I wasn't trying to rob you. I was trying to protect myself. You were controlling Vince. He leaned forward. Protecting yourself doesn't require stealing from me. She didn't deny it. Not fully. Just closed her eyes long enough for tears to gather, not fall. Before she could say more, Vincent dropped the second twist. I have proof the deal wasn't just you and Tawanda. There's a third name on the paperwork. Someone who received the initial wire. Tamar's eyes snapped open. Confusion.
Fear.
What third name? Vincent slid a printed document across the table. Tamar picked it up, scanned it, then froze. Her hand flew to her mouth. She whispered one word. Mom, Evelyn Braxton.
Signed.
Witnessed. Approved. Not rumor. Not assumption. Evidence. The betrayal wasn't just sibling deep. It was maternal. Tamar stood up so fast the chair tipped. She paced with shaking hands. She said it was temporary. She said it was for taxes. She said, her voice cracked mid-sentence. This wasn't anger. This was heartbreak. Tawanda helped move the funds. Evelyn signed off. Tamar became the face. Vincent became the casualty. This wasn't a family miscommunication. This was a coordinated plan. Whether for protection or power, nobody yet knows. But one thing is clear. The Braxton family isn't just fractured. It's breaking. This secret could destroy everything. The moment Vincent left that studio, things were never the same again. The recording didn't stay private. Nothing ever does. Within 48 hours, somebody leaked pieces of the footage. Not the whole conversation, just enough to ignite wildfire. Tamar pacing, Tawanda's name mentioned, the word offshore. And most damning of all, Evelyn's signature on a blurred document. No context. No explanation. Just raw visuals and internet imagination doing the rest. Twitter didn't walk, it sprinted. Instagram didn't scroll, it combusted. YouTube channels went live instantly. Thumbnails screaming. The Braxtons stole millions? Did Evelyn plan the money move? Tamar plus Tawanda equals secret financial deal? People who once adored the family were suddenly questioning everything. Old interviews resurfaced. Clips of Evelyn discussing business. Moments where Tamar hinted at feeling misunderstood. Scenes of Vincent crying on television. Fans connected dots that may or may not exist. Because once the internet smells betrayal, it builds its own truth. Meanwhile, the Braxton household went silent publicly, but explosive privately. Sources whispered that Tony called an emergency family meeting, not filmed, not for TV, just raw reality. Trina reportedly arrived angry, accusing Tamar and Tawanda of dragging the family name through mud. Tawanda defended herself, saying she was helping Tamar secure independence, not steal from Vincent. Evelyn allegedly insisted she only signed to keep the family assets safe if the marriage failed. But Tamar?
She cried.
Not performative, not dramatic, the kind of crying that comes from a wound too deep for words. Everybody thinks I'm the villain, she said through tears, pacing the room. I did what I had to do. No one knows what it was like living under that pressure. Tawanda hugged her, the only one who understood the weight Tamar carried. But even through comfort, there was tension. Because Tawanda also knew her name was now on documents the public would demand answers for. And Evelyn, she didn't comfort. She stood still, arms crossed, chin lifted high, a woman who had weathered storms longer than her daughters had careers. I did what I had to do to protect this family, Evelyn finally said, voice steady and unapologetic.
Protect.
A word that sounded like love, but felt like control. Tony listened quietly, but when she finally spoke, every voice fell silent. If this comes out, it won't hurt Vince, she said. It will destroy us. And she was right. Sponsors paused deals. Network producers reached out nervously. A Braxton family special that was in development reportedly entered review status. Brands don't like scandal unless they control it. Bloggers outside the family responded instantly. Some defended Tamar, claiming Vincent was manipulating public sympathy. Others insisted the evidence looked too real to ignore. Debates got so heated that hashtag Team Vincent and hashtag Team Tamar both trended for 2 days straight. But the public wasn't the only battlefield. The sisters themselves divided. Trina unfollowed Tamar quietly. Tawanda posted cryptic song lyrics about loyalty. Tamar deleted more Instagram posts overnight. And Tony, the peacemaker, posted a simple black screen with the words, "Family is complicated." In the middle of this storm, Vincent wasn't celebrating. He wasn't online begging for attention. He was silent, almost worryingly silent. Friends say he stayed home, eating little, barely sleeping, watching social media like a man watching a house he once lived in burn to the ground. Because the worst part of betrayal is not the act itself. It's seeing the world debate whether you deserved it. 3 days later, Tamar finally broke her silence. She went live, not glamorous, no makeup, hair pulled back, eyes swollen. "I never meant to hurt him," she began, voice shaking. "I just wanted to be safe. Everybody thinks Vin is innocent, but they don't know what I lived through." She took a breath, then dropped her own bomb. "There's things I haven't said. Things Vincent did. If I open that door, fans will never see him the same." Silence filled the stream. Comments exploded. Thousands begging for more. Thousands defending Vince. Thousands begging her to stop before the family war became irreparable. Tamar didn't elaborate. She ended live abruptly, wiping tears as she reached for the end button. Now the world is more confused than ever. Did she protect herself or justify betrayal? Is Vincent a victim or hiding his own sins? Is Evelyn a mother or a strategist? One truth stands. This story is no longer about money. It's about legacy, loyalty, and who the world will believe. And just when fans think things reached maximum chaos, another twist is already on the way. The internet barely had time to breathe after Tamar's emotional live when a new voice entered the battlefield, someone nobody expected to speak. Logan's former nanny, a woman who lived inside Tamar and Vincent's home during their most chaotic years. Someone who saw arguments, financial talks, whispered phone calls, late-night tears. things cameras never caught. She posted a short clip, only 32 seconds, but it flipped the entire narrative upside down. In the video, she sat in her car, voice trembling as she spoke. "Y'all dragging Vince like he's some monster, but I saw things with my own eyes. That money didn't disappear accidentally, it was planned. And it wasn't just Tamar and Tawanda. Someone else helped move it. Someone y'all never talk about." Comments exploded instantly. Who? Another sister? A manager? A cousin? A secret investor? Before she could say the name, she paused, looking around like she feared being watched. The truth is deeper than money. The transfer was just part one. There's something bigger they were planning. Something Vincent found before they could finish. She swallowed hard. "I kept quiet to keep my job. But if this gets worse, I'll show everything. Texts, screenshots, bank logs. I got proof." The video ended, no reveal, no follow-up, just millions of people staring at their screens in shock. And then fans discovered something the nanny didn't say, something she showed accidentally. In the reflection of her car window, viewers noticed a document on her passenger seat.
Zoomed in.
Enhanced. Paused frame by frame. One word stood out clearly. Trust fund. Twitter exploded. Was Tamar moving money into a trust? Was Evelyn securing family assets? Was Vincent being cut out of ownership? Speculation became wildfire when a second angle of the leaked studio video surfaced. Longer, clearer. This time, you could hear something Tamar whispered to Tawanda in the background years ago. "Once the trust is finalized, he can't touch any of it."
Not we.
Not the family.
He.
Vincent wasn't being protected. He was being removed. The internet went silent for one breath, then shook like an earthquake. Tamar's emotional live didn't look like guilt anymore. It looked like regret. Like a woman being crushed by a secret she can no longer hold. YouTubers rushed to upload breakdowns. Instagram pages posted timelines. TikTok detectives created theories with red string and screenshots. But it wasn't over. Not even close. Because just when everyone was busy analyzing the nanny clip, a private email leaked, allegedly between Evelyn Braxton and an unknown attorney. Timestamped before Tamar and Vincent's divorce. Subject line: Trust finalization. Remove Vincent from beneficiary status. If real, it means the plan was long-term.
Strategic. Calculated.
And if fake, someone is committed to burning the Braxton legacy to the ground. Either way, the damage is real. Vincent reportedly hasn't responded publicly, but close sources claim he's preparing a full interview. Not a clip. Not a leak. A televised sit-down with receipts. And Tamar? She has gone completely silent since her live. No posts.
No tweets.
Only one Instagram story. Black screen, 5 words. "You think you know." Fans read it as a warning. Others read it as a promise. Because if Vincent speaks fully, Tamar will too. And when both truths collide, someone will fall. Career, reputation, or a family bond. We are standing on the edge of a war years in the making. Money.
Trust.
Betrayal. Mother.
Sisters.
Husband. Legacy. This isn't gossip anymore. This is a bomb waiting to detonate. And the next move belongs to one of them. Vincent.
Tamar.
Tawanda. Evelyn. Who will speak first? Who will break? Who will confess? And who has the final receipt? We'll find out soon. So now that everything is out in the open, at least what we've seen so far, the question isn't who's right anymore. It's who's lying less. Because this story doesn't feel like a mistake, a misunderstanding, or marital tension. It feels like a chess game, and every player thinks they're the king, while the internet is realizing someone was always just the pawn. Vincent claims he was drained financially. Tamar says she acted out of fear and protection. Tawanda's involvement is no longer just rumor, it's visual. Evelyn's signature? It shook the ground. And now a nanny, with supposed receipts, steps forward with a promise. "I have proof. And if they push me, I'll drop everything." This isn't the end. It's just the pause before the biggest explosion. So we turn the spotlight to you. The viewers, the fans, the detectives of comment sections. Speech balloon, who do you believe right now? Is Vincent a victim finally telling the truth? Did Tamar and Tawanda move money intentionally, or out of survival? Was Evelyn protecting the family, or controlling it? And most important, who is the third beneficiary behind the trust fund? Drop your theories below, even the wild ones. This comment section is about to be a battlefield. Hit like if you want the full second video leaked breakdown. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the nanny's receipts if she drops them. Turn on notifications because when that sit-down interview hits, the truth won't just shake the internet, it will split it in half.
Part 2 is on the way.
And trust us, Fire the Real secret hasn't even been revealed yet.